Indo-Guyanese. They walk into the place, and another one. They said, "We all doing it. It's only 2 ambulances they got covering Georgetown, and they got to move. This is an emergency." The officers left to go and escort another prisoner. They had to be escorted to the hospital with our 2 young men. Right? When one of the sisters tried to explain to the East Indian EMT, I don't want to hear nothing. I don't want to hear nothing. It's always when them prisoners want to come out today, them always a scarf for salad, them and feeling good, them always sick. Something always happen to them. Me want to hear what happened. Me want to hear what happened. Those boys were sitting there for over half of an hour not feeling well. One of the boys told the accepting officer at Wijnveld when he came
not because they
that I trouble with whatever and I am not too well. You know what that officer told that young man? He ain't got dead.
Scenario. So
no, today the same
and
one
then they wait
is
for
not
to
well.
get
The other one is not well. And the EMTs, the East Indian EMT, she's so pompous with your little self. They would have arrested me today. The EMT is going to tell a family, going to tell us that she won't hear nothing. Because when them want to come out from in there, when them prisoners want to come out from in there, them always say, so something happened to them.
Conniving morning, when you had your pocket full, in our bills there'll be morning. Now because your money done, you hustle for tell me morning. Yes, morning, neighbor. Morning, neighbor, morning. Morning, neighbor, morning. Morning, I don't want you conniving morning. Neighbor, neighbor, joker. Neighbor, neighbor, joker. Neighbor, neighbor, joker. That's all the money that me walk for. A 2 pound note and a guilder piece. A 2 pound note and a guilder piece. A 2 pound note and a guilder piece. This is all the money that me walk for. I said money neighbor, money neighbor, money, money neighbor, money, money. I don't want you conniving money. Oh Joseph.
My fire burning red in a Georgia representing for Kams Tv. Big up Kidaki, Buxton massive. Hey Babylon boy, you going like Kams son. Red. Kams Tv, son. You burn this swine when no want you shine. The tree of life, them no want you climb, cause them heart no kind. Kams, I say them heart no kind. Kams, I say them heart no kind. Red that. Buxton massive. Kidaki. Red that.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome to another program of Guyanese Morning Time. It is now 7 hours 34 on the 17th day of February in the year 2023. Good morning. How you been yesterday? How is your today going? How was your last night? Yeah, how you passed your last night? What were you able to achieve yesterday? Did you take a moment out of your busy schedule yesterday to sit and reflect on what's happening in this country? What's happening around you? What's happening around the world? Did you? Are you happy with what you concluded from your reflections? Are you happy with what you're seeing around you? So there's just some questions crossing my mind, or say, as we like to say, running through my mind. This morning is Friday, let me tell you, in case you didn't remember. It's Friday, it's Free Talk Friday. And so on Free Talk Friday, usually I don't say too much. I'm here now because, you know, there was a blackout, right? Yeah, so there was a blackout, and so some things that I usually do in the mornings got delayed. First and foremost, I had to take time to go and put on the generator and so on. I ain't got no changeover switch. I ain't got a big fancy generator, so I had to go and pull card and plug in drop card and so on and try to power the studio, the apparatus, so that the show could continue. Right, just so you know. And then because of that, I had to spend a little more time getting some things in order, which are necessary. It's Free Talk Friday. I want you all to talk to me. I'm not in the mood to talk too much this morning. I want a lot of action. I'm feeling like Action Jackson this morning. Let me tell you that as of now, as we are talking, there are 9 of the 12 young men for whom wanted bulletins were issued by the Guyana Police Force, the political arm of the PPP, in custody. I understand 1 or 2 of them were arrested by the police. The others were taken to the police, as we like to say, they turned in themselves, along with the legal counsel. Some of them are being held at Brickdam, I think some at Ivlery, some at La Penitence. So they have them in different places across the country. In fact, I think a couple might be at Cove and John too. But there are 9 of them in custody. And what I learned is that, I was told yesterday, it's likely that they're going to be kept in custody for about 72 hours if they aren't charged before. But the longest they can keep them in custody is for 72 hours. And I think that law was changed. I don't know. Somebody in the legal fraternity could perhaps enlighten me, because I think that 72 hours nonsense was thrown out of the door. Right? But at the end of the day, I understand they can't hold them beyond 72 hours without charging them. And so it's likely that they will be charged. The possibility is they will be charged and taken to court today, for all you know. So we are keeping our ears to the ground on that, whether or not they will be taken to court today. But coming out of yesterday's discussion, I understand that these guys were accused of removing wood and the toilet paper from stalls at the Monterey Post Market and so on. Now, if you're accusing some people of removing wood and toilet paper from stalls, then how does that become terrorism? If you want to charge somebody for the removal of wood and toilet paper from stalls, that sounds like, to me, like simple larceny. Likewise, if it is a case of people, let's say, breaking people's stand by pushing you down and so on. That sounds like damage of property, right? Vandalism. How did we end up with terrorism charge? Did somebody hear vandalism and didn't understand it and ended up with a terrorism bulletin? I'm just wondering, because I don't see how these two things equate. I don't see how they equate. Removing toilet paper or wood from somebody's stall or destroying somebody's stall in the course of protest, I don't see how it could become terrorism. Right? But since it is terrorism, let us analyze it for what it is, terrorism. And yesterday I spoke to you about who the real terrorists were or are. And I'm saying this morning that we continue to be governed by a group of terrorists, named the PPP. And they're terrorizing African Guyanese in this country. They're terrorizing the ordinary people of this country. When they deemed Osama bin Laden a terrorist, what happened? Bin Laden didn't roll over and die. He fought tooth and nail. So many persons have been labeled terrorists across the world by people who they stood up against. Not because they are really and truly terrorists, but because their opponents recognize by labeling them terrorists, they change the game. They change the game. And so labeling these 12 young men out of Golden Grove and surrounding areas, African Guyanese young men, terrorists, the PPP knows quite well what they're doing. And I like to say they have a scorch the earth policy, and it is that which they're using against Afro-Guyanese, scorch the earth. Therefore, said they will cause a lot of us to run out of this country. And so in order to get us to run out of this country, they have adopted strengthened or are more pushy with their scorch the earth policy, because they've always had a scorch the earth policy. But they're coming more forcefully. They're much, much more forceful against Afro-Guyanese especially. And any ordinary rank and file citizen of this country who dare to challenge them. So when they label these youngsters terrorists, they're setting up a situation where they can be hunted and murdered in the streets of Guyana because they are wanted men, they're terrorists. They're setting up a situation where these men cannot be employed or will not be employed in this country because their prospective employers will see them as terrorists. They cannot leave the shores of this country to go any place for employment or to better themselves, despite the fact that Dead Fowl is saying they're going to make a lot of us run. Even if these young men are willing to run from this country for betterment, this wicked and vindictive cabal, this criminal cartel, has tainted them by labeling them terrorists. And so what they have done is just what, like I said, Henry Green suggested could be done. Put a tag on them, charge them. And by the time they can prove their innocence, enough damage would have been done to them that they will live in regret for the rest of their life, or they will live in oppression for the rest of their life. Even if these men went through the court system and are proven innocent of these terrorism charges, which I expect will happen, then enough damage has been done because, as we say, sly mongoose, your name gone abroad. Their names are out there as being engaged in terrorism. And so the PPP has just driven nails in the coffin, proverbial coffin, of 12 African Guyanese men. They can't travel, they can't work. Just now they might not have freedom of association. What is the impact of that on their families? Possibility is these men have wives and children. They have dependents. How will they be able to provide for their dependents if they can't work, whether in Guyana or elsewhere? How can they go to greener pastures if because of this label that was put on them, they can't leave these shores? How then do you expect them to survive and provide for their families? In short, you're pushing them, you're putting them between a rock and a hard place. You're putting their backs against the wall. And so by putting their backs against the wall, technically you're creating criminals in the African Guyanese society, because you're going to put them in a position where they got to beg, borrow, or steal to survive. And then you label all of us. You see them, they don't like work, them as thief. But are you creating the conditions to be able to label us like that and label them like that? Are you creating conditions where their children and their dependents would find themselves in such need that they will expose themselves or allow themselves to be abused and used and trafficked? Because this government supports trafficking in persons. A lot of them are whoremongers in the government. And this is not the only case of this wicked and vindictive cabalist criminal cartel forcing young black people against the wall and putting them in compromising positions, or positions that will result eventually in serious compromise. Yesterday I posted on my page the Dr. Berkshire Solomon, I think her name is, same female doctor who knelt before the gates of the what you call that? Whatever you call it, I'm going to tell you what you call it. The official residence, State House. Right? That doctor did a TikTok perhaps, what a social media post in front of Starbuck Market, calling on the fat guy, calling on Ali, demanding that she gets to be employed, and pointing out the cost of living, Tree Bolanja, Tree Baigan as we call it, for $1,000. Now let me say this. We know for a fact that part of the problem with this doctor is that they have not granted her release from her scholarship so that she can go elsewhere and work. And they have refused to employ her right here. So again, it's a scourge yard policy. You must stay here and be subjected to us and our punishment. We are not allowing you to go out of this country so you can get a job. We will not do it. We're not going to give you that release letter, so you can't go out and get a job. And we will not employ you because you dare to speak against us. So she is what I like to call a wheel in a wheel. She ain't got no freedom. Right? In response to her post, I saw the Ministry of Health, I think, saying that this young lady was a scholarship student and therefore indebted to the government of Guyana. According to them, she has failed 2 attempts at her clinical rotation, and that is the maximum number of rotation that she could have gotten, 2 attempts. They don't allow you more than 2 attempts. And therefore, in their argument, she's not a doctor. She's not entitled to work. Not as a doctor. She can't work as a doctor because she's not certified, according to them, as a doctor, because she failed her clinical rotations. But the question is she entitled to work in any other field? Have you given her the release so that she can work in any other field? Have you provided an avenue for her to work and repay her student loan, assuming that you're saying it hasn't been paid in full and so you will not give her the release? These are just some questions I want to ask. I know the answers already. And in my mind, the answers all have to do with the fact that she dared to challenge this wicked cabal. She's African Guyanese, and so they're determined to make her not work. They're determined to make her not work. And it's as simple as that. Y'all could see it perhaps any other way you care to see it. But I am seeing it as a wicked government, a criminal cabal, right? Good? Trying to discredit this young African woman, and instead of doing the right thing as a government, continuing this campaign to punish her and insinuating in the public that not only did she not pass the clinical whatever, but as I would like to say that she loony. Because if you read the statement, I'm really trying to find back the statement. Because the statement says, anyways, I've invited her and she's going to be here next week. So we're going to get to interrogate the statement by Frank, etc., etc. God, it's all easy to hide behind a computer and make a statement, you know. Right? It's all easy to do that. But when we see it in black and white, it don't lie. So let's keep that in mind. And so we are going to, I've invited her. She has accepted basically that she will make herself available sometime next week. And so we can talk about the statement from the Ministry of Health and what her issues are. Good? But from a glimpse I am seeing that the PPP is just bent on punishing black people. I care you all see it. Punishing black people, giving black people a hard time for survival, and ensuring that when they can't control you, they destroy you and they destroy your family by giving you all kinds of labels. These 12 men who are now labeled terrorists, even if they beat the charges, I am saying that label is going to affect them for the rest of their lives. That label is going to affect their families for the rest of their lives. that label is going to continue to cause them to be disadvantaged for the rest of their lives. I'm also saying, if we allow this wicked government through the police force to label our young black men and women terrorists because they dare to protest injustice, then there will come a time when we too will be labeled terrorists, and we too will face the similar situations like them. It is the PPP doing its worst to dissuade others from protesting the injustices in this country. We can't stand for that. We cannot and we must not stand for that. We as a people must unite and challenge the status quo and say clearly to this government, we will not have it. The people of Golden Grove will have a silent vigil this evening starting at 4 o'clock outside of the Golden Grove Market as a show of solidarity with these young men. I invite you to join that vigil. It starts at 4 this afternoon in front of the Golden Grove Market. Join that vigil. Come from far and wide. Come from afar and show your numbers, show your presence, show solidarity with those 12 young men who dare to protest against this government and the extrajudicial killing of Quindon Bacchus. We must stand with them because they stood with us at a time of need. And how we stand with them and their families will determine who else will stand with us in the present and future. Let us turn out in our numbers and sound our voices against this wicked labeling of our young men by this PPP government. I noticed Aubrey Norton at a meeting, I think in Festival City, has declared their innocence. And he said it will not be allowed. It will not be allowed. I agree that it should not be allowed. And so I wait to see what actions the leader of the opposition will take to bring an end to this wickedness, wicked and vindictiveness of the PPP government. It is 4 minutes to the 8 o'clock hour. The lines are open. It's Free Talk Friday. People say it's not what you're called. It is what you answer to. Quite frankly, if you call me a terrorist, then maybe I should start showing you what terrorism really is. Just a thought. 6225933 is the number. Call and let's talk the thing. Let me think. I think I saw an early voice note. Where is it? The lines are open. Free Talk Friday, like I said. I'm not in the mood to talk too much today. I want to see some action.
The PPP need 1,500 black men for overthrow the country, overthrow that government.
Caller, live, good morning.
Hello?
Good morning, caller, you're live.
Hi, good morning, Kadaki. Good morning to the listening public. One thing I was wondering to know that the coalition or the APNU has a lot of liars, right, in the scam. And I am saying that, you know, when people go out there to protest, they go for a cause, right? They go on behalf of us who don't have a voice, right? Or who cannot go out there. And I'm saying that when these people are incarcerated or they get old for certain things, our lawyers supposed to be on the bat. They're supposed to go to represent them. that is one of the reasons why a lot of people don't go out there to protest, because, you know, they're not seeing the support of the liars that we have in our camp. We need our liar support. So in the event of anything, right, the liars are there to support us. So that's my take this morning. You know, we need them on board. We need the liars on board.
Well, if my information is right, then they do have the lawyers on board, because my understanding is I think why is there Ford? Is it Ford? But they have lawyers that are representing their interests. Let me don't go calling names. I can't remember the names exactly.
Not only them alone, right? Other
well, naturally, caller. Yes, very well. I agree with you.
Okay, that's my conclusion. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Caller live, good morning. I think there's a call on the line. Yes, there is. Caller live, good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Kadaki, and good morning, Guyana. I want to know what it going to take for Mecca you get vexed. Which one of the situations, which one is going to trigger a reaction? Pleasance, Buxton, Ansgrove, Airport site. When are you going to get vexed in Guyana, my brother? When are we going to get angry with the bullshit? Thank you, sir.
The PPP need...
Caller live, good morning.
Good morning to one and all. You know, our country, we had a very violent history in the 2000s in that same area, and to me, either consciously or unconsciously, PPP's intentions, I think, is very sinister, right? They're trying to reforce those times. They're trying to bring those times back again. They're really trying to create a situation in where something like that will happen again, right? Because that area, like I said, it had a very violent, dark past within the 2000s. And why would you want to do something like that back in that same area? To save young people, we know the demographic and everything of that area. And you try to go to the same people and try to push the same nonsense in them again. Then you try to create a scenario again. And I think maybe that will happen again, right? I mean, this is a very, very sensitive time for that area, especially for you, brother. But I think they're trying to push us back into that game again. That's what I think. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for your call. Lines remain on me, tuned to the Guyanese Morning Time. Call and let's talk the thing. 6225933 is the number to call. Call live, good morning.
Yes, good morning, Ms. Kadaki. Good morning, everyone in the diaspora. Good morning, all Guyanese. Happy African History Month in Guyana, February. And while a lot of this distraction is going on, we know it's deliberate. And while I hear a lot of us are planning ways in which to protest, I certainly identify and can sympathize with our desire to abstain from February the 23rd. Keep in mind the PPP wish is to see February the 23rd diminished. They have always desired to diminish the republic that President Forbes Burnham put in existence. And February the 23rd is part of that. So while I identify with our enthusiasm to boycott the sentiments of February the 23rd. Remember, February the 23rd is what the PPP have their eyes on. Now, I want to talk about yesterday's apartheid and slavery are both seen as today's terrorism. Yesterday's apartheid, yesterday's slavery, that was conceptualized as today's terrorism. The purveyors of apartheid and slavery are the same purveyors of terrorism today. Now, apartheid that was seen as being reprehensible and slavery that was seen as being reprehensible is now considered to be illegal. Both reprehensible and illegal. Apartheid was reprehensible and illegal. The PPP today are reprehensible and also illegal. And so was slavery. Reprehensible and illegal. Sometimes the point I'm making here is that oftentimes when things are reprehensible, they can also be illegal. Because a lot of people are saying, well, the PPP is legal. And to the international community, the PPP is reprehensible as well as illegal. And they fit into the same category as the terrorists of yesterday. That's the correlation I'm drawing here. That the PPP is trying to color us as terrorists, but they are equally qualified as reprehensible as the terrorists themselves. And that's the correlation that I don't want us to allow us to escape. Now, bringing us to the point of self-defense. Because ultimately this can come down to a point of self-defense. Right now, people are going to court to defend themselves. Do we in Guyana, as Guyanese, have the right to self-defense? Some may say yes. You have the right to self-defense, and then some may say no. What do you mean by self-defense? Well, self-defense can be you going to your pastor and praying to your God. Self-defense can be you going to your lawyer and going to court. And self-defense can also mean the right to bear arms, to defend yourself. Some may say you need the government to give you permission, the right to bear arms. And I say, since when? How so? Do I have to ask the government a right to have a cutlass? Should I have to ask the government, an illegal government, as I just pointed out, because some things which pontificate themselves or masquerade as being legal are irreprehensible. I just pointed out that a lot of times when you see things that appear to be legal, they aren't really legal. Slavery was legal, wasn't it? That's the question I want us to ponder. Because things which pretend to be legal aren't really legal. You must decide now at this point, because we're in a crisis. Is the PPP legal? And should they be listened to? And that's a question for Cumberland North. Is the PPP legal? I am saying, and we have already said that they're not. And being that they're not, then why are we treating them as they're legal? It is causing us all type of residual and consequential problems. How is it that we are listening to an illegal government telling us that we are terrorists when they themselves are reprehensible in their actions, and their reprehensiveness have rendered them illegal under law. The PPP, I keep saying to you, have disqualified themselves from being lawful. You see, we're getting caught up with the fact that we think a person is lawful because they say they're lawful. Being lawful isn't only determined because you say you're lawful. Being lawful also requires you to conduct yourself lawfully. Hence, you are lawful. And if you conduct yourself unlawfully, then you render yourself outside of the protection of lawful immunity. That's why I've kept saying the PPP, Mr. Norton, have rendered themselves unlawful and unjust to be considered as a bona fide government. Hence, you should not encourage us to acquiesce or to obey such illegalities. And once you free the people of that position, then the people are able to conduct themselves otherwise, according to natural law. Now you may say, Cuff, you way overboard. But I'm saying that we are getting to that point. You can see clearly that we are being maligned by an unlawful state. I said that a year ago. Now it's happening. Had we stopped it before, we would not have come to this point. Fights which we are running from are fights which we are allowing to escape, and we have to fight them another day. Hence, we are at the point where the PPP black pot is calling us black. Here's a case in point of the pot called the kettle black. So, we need to stop avoiding the fight and take the fight head on. But I see there is a psychological block. The block is that the opposition is telling us we must obey and behave as though the PPP are legal. And there lies the problem. Why are we telling our constituencies to obey illegitimacy? That's a theoretical political flaw. And hence, we are inheriting all of this madness. Now, so the right to bear arms. We don't have to listen to Nandalal, Jagdeo, Ifalali, because they have disqualified themselves. I have recently told us, or shared with us, when you see the Chancellor and the High Court judge have come and told you personally to your face in the news that the PPP have thus far disrespected the Constitution, then what else do you need to hear, comrade leader? You have all the verification coming from the courts. The courts are who determine constitutionality. Pauline Chase, the bar, believes that the PPP cannot adhere to the rule of law. What else do you need to hear? That's the entire Bar Association. Roxanne George came and said that much. The Chancellor came and said that much. The CCJ came and said something of the sort in that line. Are you still looking for legitimate verification to do what needs to be done? The Guyana Defense Force have sworn an oath to uphold allegiance to the Constitution. And the PPP is violating the Constitution. I ask myself, what is the Guyana Defense Force really upholding at this point? The Guyana Police Force, what are they really upholding at this point? Because clearly, the judiciary branch has already spoken. So if you're looking for verification or validation that the Constitution is sunken, you've already heard it. Once again, thank you for listening.
Thank you for calling. Voice note.
Good morning, Kadaki. My subject this morning, man, the police force, we as black brothers, we are the strongest police force in the country. And now we police force going flat, you know what I mean? As in we time, the police was strong. Police used to defend everything. And Mr. Barnum, the police force to defend Indian men. As they used to kill the wife and beat up the wife. Until now, they're killing the wife and beat up the wife and nobody's saying nothing about that. All they're just watching us on we getting locked up, calling criminalized. But if you watch on this side, they killing and nothing coming out to them story. Watch how much more the all them Indian women would dying. Check the maths and see what's going on.
Oh, thank you for holding. Good morning. You're live.
Morning, Kadaki, and morning, Guyana. We give thanks to you for coming up and informing us each and every day. Like to also thank my brother, Coffee, on what he had just said. It is in my opinion that the Africans in Guyana, and to a larger extent all over, have simply do not understand what is in front of us, especially in Guyana. We must know that the Indians, 90%, don't like us. I would even take it for the 95%. And but yet still we as a people embrace, cajole, and continue to revere them. We simply don't fight for ourselves and our people. We allow others to simply, take their religion and all this other, their deity, to basically come into our space. We accept them. And as long as we keep doing that, we are already in serious trouble. So continue to educate our people, enlighten them, because at some point we're hoping they're going to understand what's happening, in Guyana and around the world. We have, as a people, have been strong, and for some reason, we are weakened. No one seems to respect us because we just lay down and let people walk all over us. I mean, labeling those 12 men terrorists, right? And I still will have to go and check and read the charges that were brought. And as you stated, those are not appropriate charges that you're going to bring. So what the oppressor always do is label you what they are. They're claiming that these men are terrorists. But as we said, look, who are the terrorists? And that's what they continue to do over and over. And the question asks, when the hell are we going to stand up? Where is our men to stand up, right? And those men, I believe, are in the police force and in the army there. But they refuse to uphold the law, like Coffee had said. This mafia, racist, PPP that's in there is there illegally squatting. And we have not even said, as opposition, have not said that either. So we're actually going along with what was said, that we are normalizing
their existence by not saying that they are illegal each and every day. And that's my take.
Thank you for your call.
$1,500 black man for overthrow the country, overthrow the government. 1,500 serious man for overthrow the government, overthrow the PPP. Because guess what now? The Guyana military do not have 10,000 soldiers. They do not have 10,000 soldiers.
Call over the line. Call it live.
Good morning, everybody. I would like to take this opportunity, I know it's not a request program, to wish a dear old friend a happy birthday, Jennifer Bart Miller Elliott. Happy birthday today. Now, I would like to send a message to Dr. Hines. I know he usually looks at the program. Dr. Hines, please, when you're talking now, I know you get to cause something to say it for a few years. APNU AFC. It's no longer APNU AFC. It's APNU alone or PNC reform. Okay, moving along. Now, there was this problem at the airport with some, I think is, I don't want to call the people's name, but the thing is, Gonzalez, where he was going back, and America Airlines must call him down to do the right thing. They're right. Now, everybody got rules to the house. And they have this, they tell themselves that they're big in Guyana, not even in his own country, because they felt to break in the head and bust it. So if he comes to Guyana, he should have been like the American president that got an airline war is the president airline. And when all they got to do, soon as they get clearance, the president is always well protected. So he just walks off of some, I can't remember the called the thing, and board the jet right away. Inga forgot and signed nothing. There is America. And if you want to roll with the big boys, you got to do as they say. And if America Airlines say he got to come down and check in, he got to come down and check in. And I don't see why the Guyanese government, I think this girl, Walton, I can't remember her name, but y'all know it's a minister, shadow minister for APNU, got up to voice our opinion. These are the same people who come and destroy APNU, destroy the black people in Guyana. So when these people go and meet with the white people like American Airlines, and they kick them into the hole that they're supposed to be, or back under the rock, we will go and join an apartheid system, must shut them out and let it get what they're looking for. Because Guyanese ain't going to tell them though. So if the low people, I ain't said a low, but they are not as high as the president, who on American Airlines, who are white people, kick Ralph Gonzalez and all of them who look to overstep the boundaries back into the line. All right. Now with these boys, we have got to give solidarity to them, because once they affix a name to you, they treat you as that. Because they have affixed a name to me, a political activist, and they have dealt me as a political activist. Just because I talk for my rights, I am being dealt that. Because they know that I am always out there, I'm always talking about the ills, they label me and they try to deem me. So we have got to stand up. I could remember years ago, he was the second to Farrakhan, think something Mohammed, the man, the name, came here to Guyana. He was not on no political thing. He was on Channel 9. He was talking about the Sankofi board when Barra Jagdeo arrested that man and said that the man come to promote terrorism in Guyana. The man was in place into the lockup and he was only released a few hours to board the plane and leave Guyana. And because of that labeling, when the man went back to America, he cried on Farrakhan show because he said he used to go around the world and do talks. And because of what Barra Jagdeo said, he was denied entries into countries because of that label as a terrorist, encouraging terrorists. So the PPP know what they are doing. And we have got to continue. At first, we used to say installed fraudulent regime. And those 3 words have been removed from the society. America called them the installed government, and they see them as installed government. People would say that, they're treating them accordingly. The ambassador, Ambassador in Sarmines, has no real place in America. He's just there, another fringe benefit of EXXON, getting EXXON money. But because America knows that Guyana is an installed, and they don't call them a legit country, a legit government, they don't allow him to act on anything for Guyana because they do not respect him. Now, there is this conference, the CARICOM conference, and there is it, this Sarah Lynch, who every month, here America recall into the States, along with this Jane, whatever she name, the 2 of them gone to this conference. Why are these ambassadors going everywhere they can with the so-called installed head of state? That is to show that these people are continually to go and to know everything about Guyana, what is done abroad, so that you see when they are ready to destroy the installed regime, they will know where to pull the string. Because as an ambassador, they can't think. You think if Biden going anyway, some minds could say going with Biden, which side where he can't even hold up on the presidential air, the wheel of the airplane. He can't meet there. But everywhere they went to Texas the other day, this woman went there, wicked witch from the north. Now 2 of them, one from the north and one from the east. And with this doctor thing, people gonna bash me, I don't care. This girl sold herself to the devil. She was another Henry Jeffrey. And you got to put her in the basket of Henry Jeffrey. Because let me tell you something. There are things that I wish APNU could have done. There are things that people would call down APNU on. I don't call them down because I know 3 years and 7 months is a short time to clean up the mess of 23 years. But one thing why the vex with President Granger for, when the Marriott was in problem, he should not have paid off the Marriott because the Marriott still put up for sale. The same money for pay for the Marriott, he should have tried to see NIS being given back some kind of money so that NIS could have awarded me an increase in my pension. But he did have increases at NIS. So everybody jumped down on President Granger. In the couple of years, he did a mighty lot for Guyana. And these people, don't matter what, don't matter how you choose Pincho, they should never answer the girl. She is an example to all those who may decide to leave the APNU or to leave your black people, your African brothers and sisters, and follow the steps in the Kuli thing. Because when you see Kuli done with black man, they don't say, "Run your black dog." And that is exactly what they have done to this woman. And they got plenty of people who just jump on the live and talk and say, oh, this and that. Some of them tell the family for go and give the Koli the vote. And now them same people just jump up and talk, the Koli people. I'm telling you, I don't say I don't have Koli friends. I got plenty of Koli friends. But there is a line that I don't overstep. Because I know that when you see you overstep the line and you've gone overboard, it's going to be hard for you to stretch to your black brethren, to pull your African brethren, to pull you out of this cesspit that you have found yourself in. Bye-bye and happy birthday to Jenny. Bye-bye.
Thank you for your call. Viewers, you're still tuned to the Guyanese Morning Time. It is now 8 hours 29 and the lines are open so you can talk the thing. 6225933 is the number to call.
15 serious man. 1,500 serious man could overthrow that country. Because the Guyana Defense Force do not have 10,000 people.
Thank you for your voice note.
Good morning, Mr. Kadaki and all other viewers. What I will call terrorism is those persons who went and broke down the people's houses at Mocha, dig the woman down in the mud. That is terrorism. That is terrorism. You terrorize the people. So when they're talking about terrorism, they gotta look in the mirror, they gotta look at themselves and see what is terrorism. Because they're the ones who are terrorizing people. Morning. They are the terrorists.
Call you live, good morning. Call you live, good morning. Call you live, good morning.
We're missing this, we see Jack, you throw this country into another major debt. 55 million US, we gotta pay EXXON every month for the pipeline. Let us not lose sight of that.
What are we going to do about it? Keep watching?
Yeah, man?
I'm asking what we will do about it. We will keep watching it?
We need people to be aware of this. We demand already throw we in the debt.
They say, I think the headline I read early this morning is Guyana is in a position to access more loans. Ashni Singh.
But Brassington disclosed it at the conference yesterday after RB skinning up that they don't have any information on the pipeline. So at the conference, Brassington disclosed it. It's on Garden Mosley News.
Let's keep accessing more loans. Our children will die in poverty.
I tell you, boy.
Thank you.
All right.
Voice note. Some voice notes that are not loading on the page, so I have to play them from the phone.
Good morning, Kadaki and listeners. It's not rocket science to see the way in which the PPP is going around their stuff. And the last...
Call it live.
Yeah, good morning, good morning. On the show, Dr. Show the other night showed the parliament in the African country there, where the guy who's speaking in the rain. I want them to take an example of what you're supposed to do as a parliamentarian to stand up for the right thing. You understand? They're just staying there and they're doing nothing. See, the man speaking was from the opposition, and although the House Speaker tell him to chew and had a little start, he stood up. He said, I'm not here, I was not invited here, I was implied here, right? Boring spot here. And he started up and he ain't going back there, we passing this until. So all of them parliamentarians on the opposition side should take note and take it. The story about this, they want to find something they collect every month because they know they ain't messing up the paycheck.
Call it where the 1 point something coming from? Who paying them 1 point something?
Yeah. Well, I just started right here.
Well, he says a terrible thing. Be careful.
I stand corrected, right? But now, what I'm saying still, you be there for the people. So you got to do what you're being paid to do, or what you stand to represent. Where you take your oath to represent, you do what you have to do.
Caller, what's the responsibility of the people themselves? What do you call it gone? I tell you all already, don't depend on the parliamentarians. Stand up for yourself.
Good morning, Kadaki and listeners. It's not rocket science to see the way in which the PPP is going around their stuff. And the last caller just spoke about going back to the times. It's already there, brother. It's already there. Let's look at our education system. The last time the PPP was in government, they spoke about no child left behind. What resulted in that was that our young people saw bling, drugs, guns, and every other bad thing as the right way to go and as the things that made you a person. Now, I've seen recently, I think it was on Facebook, about all these children with the racing cars. You mean the teachers couldn't have organized, let's say, a historical tour or something? I'm sure that if you ask a young Guyanese particular things about the history of Guyana, they are lost. For me, all that photograph did is reflect again or repeat the fact again that bling seems to be the thing. Now, I have a problem with that. Our education system is in a mess, and that's all they could offer the children? Come on, man, that is ridiculous. As it pertains to the violence, and that comes from what they're seeing. All they're doing is being robots. They're repeating what they saw before. So it's before our very eyes. When it comes to intimidation and stuff like that, that was also in the late 90s, 2000s. It was there. And the PPP is known for not placing emphasis on education. They're known for disrespecting persons with education. Because for them, they buy their stuff. So once they have money, they tell themselves that they're okay. Something is seriously wrong with the society in Guyana, where everything is fun, everything is joke. You know, it's a party thing for everybody. It's sad, but it's the truth. And discrediting our professionals is part of the PPP's. It's their modus operandi. That's what they do. Until Guyanese rise up like they did in 2015 and speak up for themselves. I know some of them are afraid, but until they rise up and do something or say something forcefully as a people, we're going to be lost, brother. We're going to be lost. I'm just sorry that, you know, a lot of young people are out of jobs and stuff like that. But it is what it is. And until we as a people stand up and make our voices heard, nothing will change.
Thank you for that voice note. Here's another one.
Oh, one more. Hold on, one more. Keep a fire burning, Red Joshua representing for Kams Tv, son. Right. Keep a fire burning, Red and Joshua representing for Kams Tv. Big up Kidaki. Buxton massive. Hey, Babylon boy, you going like Kams, son. Red. Kams audio son. You burn the swine when no want you shine. The tree of life, them no want you climb, cause them heart no kind. Kams I say them heart no kind. Buxton massive. Kid.
Morning, neighbor, morning. Are you morning, neighbor, morning? Nah, something ain't right here. I ain't feeling myself. I gotta get some drums. I gotta get some drums. It's the ancestors' call. Morning. Welcome to another program of Guyanese Morning Time. It is 7 hours 23 on the 20th day of February in the year 2023. I got some things to talk about. We enough nastiness to talk about this morning. I am scared. You ever frighten yourself? Yeah, I'm afraid of myself. Please share the live. I'll share the live. Good morning. Share the live, folks. Share the live. Welcome. How was your weekend? Y'all had a good weekend? I hope you had a good weekend. I hope, again, I'm encouraging. I hope y'all make some money from your side hustle. Whatever your skills, whatever you are good at, I hope you utilized it over the weekend and you made some money. As money makes the world go wrong, and people with money, in the Guyanese society, got a whole lot of power. And if we're saying power to the people, we got to ensure that people make money. If you're rich and well-to-do in this society, you can do almost anything you like, you know. Almost anything you like, you could do. You only got to know who to pay. Right? You only have to know who to pay. You can get 10, 20, 50 acres of land for private development, while thousands of people are waiting the allocation of house lot, if you know who to pay. It's pay to play. If you can't pay, you can't play. Right? And so if you want to play in this society, you gotta ensure a lot of things. Number one, I didn't make enough money so you could behave as ignorant as them who got money. Number two, you got political friends who got access to money and political power so they could defend you and protect you from all your deeds. Or number three, you take political power. Right, those are some of the things you can do to have a face in this society. Look at it for yourself, analyze it for yourself. I'm not happy this morning. I'm scared. I'm scared of myself. I'm afraid. Sometimes you see people walk away from a fight. According to one man, he said not fear, you know. It's experience. I think Dr. Hines has said that a number of times. It's not fear, you know. Not fear just make you walk away, you know, it's experience. Because you know yourself and you know where it could end up. This morning I'm asking, where are the African Guyanese men especially in this society? Where are the black men in this society? Do we have black men in this society? Do we have African Guyanese men in this society? You know, growing up, you always hear that part of the challenges of the African Guyanese society is that the men are never present. Or for the greater part, the men abandon their women and children. Black man like skin cock. Black man like knock blackboard. Black man like sport. But they now look after them picnic. They now look after them family. Those are the curses we always hear. Those are the curses we are accustomed to hearing. There's a stereotype a lot of us grow with. And in this highway, in this time, in this era, in 2023, sometimes you're forced to want to believe that black men are really absent from the African Guyanese community. Our men are really absent and docile. And lazy and incompetent. They want to believe it. Because when you look across this society, and you see the injustices that are being meted out to black people, and you see no retaliation, no pushback by our black men especially, you want to ask, where are our men? The woman is in the forefront of everything. The woman not wearing the pants. The woman got more bars than our men nowadays. Can't our men look around and see, take examples from other men in the Caribbean as to how men should behave in defense of their families and their people? Instead of set of them behaving like wussy, like gal, when you're growing up, and boys are not behaving like boys, they say it's a gal or what? It's like this thing that ducking and hide. Push the woman to the front. If they're even present there to have an interaction with the woman. This morning I'm saying it is time the African nation rise up. It is time black men, African Guyanese men, show some allegiance to the African Guyanese nation, to the African Guyanese women and children. Because unless we show that allegiance to our African Guyanese women and children, we are leaving out there. We are leaving them out there to be taken advantage of by other men in this society. I'm going to get very lewd this morning. I'll listen to this lewdness because it is a reality. It is a statement that was uttered. And while people consider it lewd, it's a reality. Our African Guyanese women, our African Guyanese men have left the gate open to the extent that Indo-Guyanese men can look at them in the face and say, ah, boy, I will fuck black woman now. It's an expletive, excuse me for it, I have to use it because it's a statement. That is a statement of power. We got power over you. There was a time when an Indian man dare not even think about approaching an African Guyanese woman to tell you you also share your swashi because she self would put it in place. Not to mention the fear of our black brothers getting in his face. But now they're saying it openly, brazenly, boldly. I'm a top black woman backside in public. Because what? African Guyanese men have left the gates open. They left it open. They abandoned their posts to be bagmen of rich Indian businessmen, to be friends and cronies with Indian politicians. All for what? A pittance. All for a pittance. And on a daily basis, you could see this abandonment costing the African Guyanese society more and more and more. There was a time when Indo-Guyanese interfered with African Guyanese while they were passing through their villages, etc. They had to look forward to and be afraid of reprisal. Now they're doing it with immunity. There was a time when an African Guyanese passing through Enterprise, for example, they would tell you left the by because if I would trouble them, then boxing people would come. Right? Them boxing people will come. There was a time when Indo-Guyanese dare not take advantage on African Guyanese in any part of this country because they feared reprisal. All African Guyanese villages would stand up and defend those who are being taken advantage of. But it's a different time now. Indo-Guyanese, Kuli people are doing the gods to black people without the fear of reprisal. Why? Because the African Guyanese men have abandoned their posts and their position. They might be seen in families, but are they really functioning in families? Are they protectors of the family? As socialization has taught us, are they protecting their family? Or are they protecting those very Indian Guyanese men and their families instead of protecting their own? I can't come out and stand up on the side of black people because I'm working with a Kuli man. There's a Kuli man yard service I'm working with, so I can't stand up on the side of black people when advantage is being taken of them. I can't stand up on the side of black people when advantage is being taken of them because I got to live. It's Kuli people that's give me money. So you abandon the African community, you abandon the African cause, you abandon the protection of the African children. Because your source of money is a Kuli man, an Indian man. Well, because of that attitude, there's no safe space for our children anymore. During the 2020 election fallout, the East Barbis Indians attacked school buses. They injured our children. They traumatized them. Nothing was done about that to right the wrong. Just over the weekend, word came that they invaded a school.
You just see the big man come across me, right?
The video did the disappearing actor. Me, I'm finding it back, don't worry.
You just see the big man come across me, right? You just see the big man come across me, right?
You see that chaos there? You see that chaos? I'm going to read a statement from the desk of Natasha Singh Lewis, Shadow Minister of Education, dated the 18th of February. Racial attacks on school children in Region 5. On the 17th of February 2023, during instructional period, the peace of Woodley Park Secondary School was disturbed by some residents of Woodley Park Village, West Coast, Berbice. During this disturbance, which was a continuation of a similar occurrence on the 16th of February 2023, on the entrance streets to the school, Afro-Guyanese students were physically assaulted and verbally abused, as seen in a video emanating from parents of students from the above-mentioned school. Persons were seen armed with pieces of wood walking around the compound of the school as parents and teachers confronted the intruders in the presence of students. In the said video recording, one student complained to a teacher that he was cuffed. Subsequently, photographs from parents sent to Member of Parliament Mr. Viceroy Jordan showed that the severity of physical injuries to the hands, feet, and head of the affected students. One parent stated on her Facebook page, quote, "After physically abusing the children, they said, 'This is a coolie area. Black man is supposed to be here.'" End quote. While parents and teachers tried their utmost to put the intruders out of the compound, they vowed in the presence of all to return after lunch on Friday, 17th of February, 2023. This matter was then reported to the Department of Education, Region 5, while the parents reported the matter to the police. It is reported that as the villagers promised to return the following day, a larger gang of villagers converged at the school and attacked only Afro-Guyanese students, this time causing bodily injuries, disrupting school sessions for the remainder of the day by entering the school compound half-dressed and consuming alcoholic substances. There was no security guard at the school. A follow-up on the reports made by teachers and parents made at the Fort Wellington police station indicated that no arrests were made. Senior officials of the school visited the education department seeking immediate help, but at that time no education officer was present to give guidance, while the regional education officer could not be reached by telephone. The Ministry of Education, through the Department of Education, has failed to visit the school or the affected children and parents so as to give guidance on this matter. This leaves the parents and teachers with more questions of their safety and security, of their well-being both at school and while traversing the community to get to school. Member of Parliament Vincent Jordan met and spoke with several teachers, parents, and students who all expressed fear for their lives and safety at school. To date, the Ministry of Education and the Ministry of Home Affairs have not visited the affected persons nor issued a statement on the matter. We are therefore calling on the Ministers of Education and Home Affairs to immediately investigate this matter and put mechanisms in place so as to ensure that instructional periods are not further disturbed and the parents and students can feel safe returning to school. We believe that the Rights of the Child Commission, as an independent body, has an active role to play in this particular matter, in ensuring they advocate for the rights and interests of children and the young people affected in this heinous crime. Further, we wish to call on the Ethnic Relations Commission, which has a constitutional function to foster a sense of security among all ethnic groups, while encouraging and promoting the understanding, acceptance, and tolerance of diversity in all aspects of national life, and promoting full participation by all ethnic groups in the social, economic, cultural, and political life of the people, and to investigate and report on matters contrary to this function. We call on the Ethnic Relations Commission to investigate this matter and make the findings of this matter public. We vehemently condemn the actions of some residents of Woodley Park, West Coast Berbice. That is, assault causing bodily harm and emotional abuse to our students in school at Woodley Park Secondary School, and causing public terror in the community. The non-action of the PPPC administration and the police is sending the wrong signal and might very well encourage the further terrorizing of the affected children and embolden the aggressors. It should also be noted that the act of terrorizing one ethnic group will exacerbate racial tension and does not augur well for the ethnic unity, Y'all heard the statement, y'all saw the video. I got one thing to say. I ain't calling on no Ministry of Education to do anything. I ain't calling on the Home Affairs Ministry to do anything. I am not calling on the police to do anything. They know their roles. The fact that none of them responded to complaints and reports from parents and teachers at the police station and at the Department of Education since the first time this thing happened, and there were no steps taken to secure the children for the second time when the hooligans tried to go and terrorize them. I ain't got no time with Ministry of Education and Home Affairs Ministry. I'm calling on black people everywhere because the assaults were on black people, children. Stand up and defend your children, since those at Woodley Park know is a coolie area. And black man is supposed to do it. Black people must stand up in the area and say it's a black man here and coolie man is supposed to do it. I said Friday, and I think it was Friday, I said it when I addressing some Brong, whatever Brong her name is. And I want her to come here this morning and tell me about peace and peaceful coexistence again. I want her to come and tell me don't promote violence when violence is being meted out to our children in Woodley Park. I said it before. I believe in an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. If black people, children cannot go to a school located in an Indian community in comfort and in peace and without being traumatized and terrorized, coolie people picnic must go to school in black area. Coolie people picnic must go to school in black area. If it's segregation you want, then broke up and done. Broke up and done. You know, for too long as a people, the African Guyanese in this country believe that integration serves us. I believe we can coexist peacefully. I believe in peaceful coexistence. I don't think we need to integrate. And since the people were sitting in the seat of power, see not even one peaceful coexistence, then let me just broke up and done. Black men and women must march on schools. Like Indian men and women can march on schools and nothing comes out of it, black men and women must march on schools. Just to demonstrate how idiotic and how dangerous it can be in this society. When those who are sitting in power preaching one Guyana are allowing their comrades and their supporters and their courts and whoever else to continue to take the ice and pass one set of people in this society. The African Guyanese need to form themselves into a group, into an organization, into whatever they want to call it, to defend themselves. Whether it calls for bearing arms legally or illegally, black people must defend themselves in this society. Where are the black men? Where are the fathers of those children who were beaten up at Woodley Park, traumatized at Woodley Park for 2 days? Where them daddy there? You mean none of them can take one for the team? None of y'all ain't got a gumption to run into Woodley Park and make an example of Tukuli? They always try to tell people in this society that black people were responsible for the racial strife and the riots and all of that. My understanding of history tells differently. Those who want to be fair will tell you that the fallout of the 60s was a result of Indo-Guyanese advantaging African Guyanese. My history tells me it was a husband and wife, I think, that were murdered at the back of one of those villages on the farms that started the racial conflagration, let me call it, in the 60s. And if nothing was learned from then, or if black people become so soft from then that they're going to continue to get poked in their eyes, I say something wrong with me. Something has to be wrong with us. Why do we as a people want to sit back and allow our children to continue to be taken advantage of? And we're not standing in a defense. The other day was one of his name's son at QC with that arrogant judge and his team of hooligans who went in there and assaulted that child. Former chief education officer. Couldn't stand in defense of his child. Previously, school bus was attacked by hooligans in Borbis again. Nobody paid the price of that. As a matter of fact, I read another report where the same arrogant judge went to St. Stanislaus and exhibited his racism. Nobody paid the price of that. And now in Woodley Park, you got scums of the earth terrorizing your children and telling them this around clear your black man again right here. So what do you do to say to those in Woodley Park and across this country, if you are going to continue to create this kind of strife, we got the answer for it. Wait on Priya Manichan to make a statement. Have you heard a statement from Priya Manichan? Wait on Brock Up Ropes and Ben. The PPP footstool, the token Negro. Y'all heard any statement from him? Are you going to sit and tell yourself that action is going to be taken by you just sitting? Action will only be taken when people realize that other people's lives are at risk. And when people realize that it's only not one set of people could bleed. African men, black men, fathers, brothers, uncles in this society, I'm saying, band yourselves together in defense of the black nation. Band yourself together in defense of the black nation. Let these people understand that you could defend your people. Ever so often I hear about all them ex-soldiers, all them black ex-soldiers who was major and who was this and who was that and who achieved this and who lay down in front helicopter craft for going fight Suriname. Where are these ex-soldiers? Where are these militarily trained men? Stop living in the glory of the past. You have a battle to fight now. Band yourselves together and fight this battle in apartheid Guyana. Because all are involved and all will be consumed. I don't care who I got to court. I don't care who I got to the police. By the time the court ready for rule or the police ready for intervene, too many of us will be dead. It is best we die on our feet, fighting. Wanted bulletin was issued last week for 12 African Guyanese men from Golden Grove area. Because of a protest. They call them terrorists. They issued bulletin for them anti-terrorism, blah, blah, blah. They've been charged. And that's not what those charges are yet. But they've been charged. It's likely that they will make a court appearance today, or certainly in this week. Do you expect that this corrupt and criminal apartheid government will ensure that those who terrorize our children in Woodley Park get similar charges to terrorism? Don't hold your breath. Because they're black. Them a coolie in one coolie area. And according to them, black man a get right there. And since black man a get right there, but black man alone can get charged with terrorism. I think the time has come for black man to really be terroristic. So some people get sense in the society. Where are our black men? Where are the fathers of these children? Where are the husbands of these teachers? Black people, I'm saying it again. In every black community, as far as I understand, you could find a whole set of illegal guns with black man threatening to kill Matty with it. You want somebody to go and brandish a gun pun? Find the terrorists. They say steel sharpens steel. I have no apologies for my position, none whatsoever. If black people children cannot go to school in an Indian area comfortably, then Indian people children must not go to school in an African area comfortably. Let me shut down the schools. let us shut down the schools until somebody gets some sense. They're pushing me out of public service. They're pushing me out of private sector. Now they're pushing you all out education too. And we sitting back and accept that? Something has got to be wrong with us. Something has got to be wrong with us. Black people, black man, black fathers, black brothers, black uncles, grandfathers. The time is now to stand in defense of your children and your nation. Them colored people are as bold as they are because they tell themselves they got all these paramilitary groups masquerading as security services on the side. They tell themselves that the PPP got all them stupidity black man in the Guyana police force and the Guyana defense force covered on the side. So black people don't get nobody for defend them. Black fathers, form your own defense. Form your own defense. It is a sacred duty. This is terrorism. I want y'all to see it again. This is terrorism. And people must be made to pay the price.
You just see the big man come and coffee, right? You just see the big man come and coffee, right?
You know what would have been the appropriate response? When the threat was made on the 16th, black men should have turned up at the school with their children on the 17th. So the aggressors would know that they have a confrontation to deal with. Can anybody identify the leader of this gang? Identify the leader of the gang. And set an appropriate example. So that nobody will dare to try it again. That's how you stop bypass. You get beat up at school as little boy, you wait in front of your gate till the bad man pass and you run out and you get tackled. And when you don't dress you up in front of your gate, you go to school the next day. And the cycle could continue. Knock, get knocked back. And black people must start knock back. As a matter of fact, if you anticipate people going to knock you, knock them first. I ain't got no apologies to that. You anticipate they're going to mash you, mash them first. Don't wait to get mashed. Everything we run, we complain. Everything we issue a statement. Statements ain't making no sense. Everything we bring to the eyes of the international community, it ain't making sense. And since nobody in here first bell ring, let it hear second one. Let it hear second one. The blood got spill, it got spill, man. I can usually say, I know they're going to come. Let it come. We cannot sit back as a people and accept this. No. Are we living up to the claim that the most docile black people are sent to Guyana? Huh? Are we out to prove that Guyana got a set of docile black people? That all of this can be done to us and we ain't retaliating? I am just sick and tired of this. I'm saying black men, fathers, brothers, uncles, cousins, grandfathers, wherever you class yourself, band yourselves together and defend your people. Take an example to the Surinamis. Take a page out of the Surinamis book. Right? When the international community can pay attention, is when bloodshed starts. When you go to the emergency unit, they got a thing that says if you're bleeding, you're in emergency. If you're bleeding, when you go to the emergency unit, the first set of people they look at are those who are bleeding. And dependent on the severity of the wound and bleeding and so on. So if you want the international community look into your interest, maybe people got bleed. All of you not going to survive. All of you not going to die either. But maybe we can get a semblance of respect and fairness that will lead to peaceful coexistence in this country. That's all I want to tell you. It's 5 minutes past 8. Suriname had major protests last week. Y'all know why? Y'all will be surprised. Chantoki, another Indian man in government, Santoki, decided that he was going to withdraw some kind of subsidy from the Surinamis. And they in turn decided, we're going to stand for this nonsense. We're not accepting it. We're not going to accept it. And so he had a big protest. I hope some of you have seen the videos, because I'm just going to read from the Associated Press, their report, dated February 17th. Paramaribo, Suriname. Hundreds of demonstrators stormed Suriname's parliament, broke windows and looted nearby businesses Friday to protest high fuel and electricity prices in the South American nation. Protesters in the capital, Paramaribo, overwhelmed the police, who had fired tear gas to try to control the crowd. It wasn't immediately clear if there were injuries in the melee. The protesters demanded the resignation of President Chandrika Prasad Santokhi, who recently ended the state subsidies for fuel and electricity on the recommendation of the IMF. Demonstrators also were upset about inflation in the prices of other basic goods and the weakening of the Suriname dollar. Authorities condemned the attack and said those responsible would be brought to justice. Quote, "The government respects everybody's right to protest, but will not tolerate actions like the ones demonstrated today," end quote, Santokhi's administration said in a brief statement. Excuse me. Wow. At least 2 labor unions called for strikes that prompted banks, ports, and schools to shut down. The protest in the capital ended by early Friday afternoon, with calm returning to the streets. The change in subsidies policy also has led to turmoil within the government. On Wednesday, members of the Suriname National Party withdrew from the ruling coalition of Santokhi, who is from the Progressive Reform Party. Protesters on Friday also were demanding the resignation of Vice President Ronnie Brunswick of the General Liberation and Development Party. Right? That's the Associated Press. Reuters tells us that protesters stormed Suriname's parliament as anti-austerity rally turns chaotic. Paramaribo, February 17, Reuters. Dozens of protesters forced their way into Suriname's parliament as hundreds more rampaged through the capital, Paramaribo, on Friday, clashing with police as demonstrators against the government descended into chaos. Demonstrations against the government descended into chaos. Thousands took to the streets in initially peaceful demonstrations against government austerity measures, including the elimination of subsidies against a backdrop of high inflation. But the protests turned ugly when demonstrators throwing rocks and bottles at police stormed the parliament's grounds, with some making their way into the building before being forced back. A Reuters witness said police fired tear gas in return. Others started fires and looted shops, many of which had closed as a precaution amid the unrest. The government of President Chan Santokhi condemned the violence, saying in a statement it had set up a task force to track down those responsible for attacking Parliament. Santokhi's office urged citizens to avoid downtown and busy locations, saying there had been 50 arrests, quote, and this number will continue to rise. The U.S. Embassy in Paramaribo condemned the attack on the National Assembly building and related violence in a statement, calling the incidents an, quote, unacceptable assault on democracy, end quote. Suriname's Ministry of Economy, Entrepreneurship and Technological Innovation advised businesses owners to shut their premises on Friday and Saturday due to safety concerns. 5 business associations advised the community to remain closed until further notice, saying in a statement that, quote, security forces were insufficiently prepared for the escalation, end of quote, of violence. Suriname, a former Dutch colony in northern South America, with a population of 610,000, reported inflation of 54.6% for 2022. The protests come in the same week that the smallest party in government left the ruling coalition, citing disagreements over poverty and social policies. My question to you is there inflation in Guyana? How big is it? Have you received any subsidies from your government? How small is it? Is cost of living rising in this country? Or is it affordable? Are you feeling economic squeeze or not? And based on how you answer those questions, that is how you will react, quite frankly. At least that's in my mind. Do you have a right to protest? Do you have a right to a better quality of life? Do you have a right to hold your government accountable? The Surinamese certainly believe they have that right. And they have demonstrated that they're not afraid to demand that right. What are we doing as citizens of this dear land of Guyana? Last night, the panorama, or whatever they call it, at Marriott Beachfront was rampant. Everybody was having a good time, gyrating on each other. I wonder how many had a meal this morning. I wonder how many can send their children to school this morning. I wonder how many can really cope with the cost of living. Why don't we see those numbers on the streets calling for economic and social justice? The lines are open. 6225933 is the number to call. You're tuned to the Guyanese Morning Time. Identify where racism is and where corruption is and where terrorism is. And let all terrorists be charged. Failing which, let the people take action upon those who are terrorizing their children. 6225933 is the number to call. Call over the line. Call it live. Good morning.
Good morning, my brother. Good morning. Now you see, they say that they got a saying at times that people just be the contributors of their own destruction. And in the case of Guyana with black people, I feel that we're the contributors of our destruction. And you're so right, Brother Kadak. You're so right with what you're saying concerning our black men. We as black men, we need to stand, because you see those things that going on with Indians. With Indians is because the black men is injecting those kind of hate into the children, that they could able to come out and say those kind of things and go on with the kind of way they're going on. You see it trickle down now to the schools. And we, the black men, have been failing us. And where these black men failing us from? The head of the police force, the head of the media outlets, and especially like Hits and Jam. I feel people supposed to come to the consciousness that the only contribution that people like Hits and Jam have for black people is lawlessness. Look how years these men, Brother Kadaki, got radio program and TV program. How much they be preaching blackness. They got no program. Look how many we got Indian schools. We got a lot of Indian programs going on for the Indian people and the right. The right to have those programs to enlighten their race. And so, where we's concerned, since we think about doing something black, is racism. We got to say, find people like Ralph Ferguson and Corinne Bowlers, them, they can't come under. So what they're doing for the oneness, for Guyana and for the oneness of people, is to keep share sessions and ways it share lawless, get on part story and them thing. And that is why I would encourage people, especially the people in Sophia and those places, the people, the forgotten people, the black people, them that is being marginalized and stifled from the economic wealth, to stop supporting these guys, stop coming on the programs and going on and answering stupid questions and them kind of thing, who could whine, who could sing song and all them kind of thing, because they have nothing good. I mean, I ain't got no hate for these brothers. What I got for them as a people, the hate I got for them is their actions and their contributions, and they contributed nothing good to the black race. Nothing good to the black race. Black people, we supposed to stop boycotting the things like the Masho money and thing was headed by this racist government. I'm not attacking Indian people. I am attacking the racist government that Indian people support, which is headed by the evilest force, the most evilest, or the most evilest president that Guyana ever had and ever see. It's Barrow Jack Dio. And the lifestyle that he live. The lifestyle that he live is what causing us to be in this position that he is. Look, it get an Indian man spit on a black woman that is guarding his place, and he know the spit there. He end up telling that black people supposed to get wiped off of the earth. They say what a sober mind reveal, a drunken one. What a sober mind conceal, a drunken one does reveal it. You understand? And these things keep popping up in the black communities where these people keep rising, and as you rightfully say, Brother Kadaki, is because we, the black men, we lost our values for standing up for our wives and our daughters or our children. We lost the values. You checking a lot of these black guys home that you see walking, parading about the place in fancy clothes, wearing fancy clothes and them kind of thing. The yard full of grass. Them ain't got nothing plant in the backyard, nothing at all. So what they doing? They're depending on the pittance coming from these Indian men, and we don't realize that these Indian men, where they getting the money from to give them, they're using them to guard against them Indian men, the bosses them, so they could exploit the wealth of the country, and they're using it back to pay the pittance out that we could continue guarding them. We can't get no proper deals at the banks. We can't get no proper deals at the bank. The full book thrown to us, and we still sit down. We still sit down and accepting these things. Black brothers Clifton Hickins, Ralph Ferguson, and all the rest, Juan Edgel, and all the rest, black brothers, as much as y'all might do things that would cause me to feel scorn of y'all, I still got to realize that y'all are black brothers. And y'all need, because the lack of standing up for us, y'all causing a lot of pressure on us. And if y'all going to continue to stand up and see the wrong thing happen to us for y'all own personal gains, the most we could do is call on our ancestors, on the African forces, to return the harsh favor on y'all and y'all children. Let y'all children feel the squeeze we are causing us as black people to feel, because y'all is not standing up, and y'all refusing to speak out on blackness. Since we talk, I hear the guys from Hits and Jam, because black people stand up talking about race. Since when we ever hear, look what black people pass through, not only in Guyana but in this world. Since when we ever be racist? Since when we ever be racist? You ever hear that we discriminate against anyone? We Indian in-laws them, or we Amerindian in-laws them, or we in-laws them of any race? Never. Never yet. It don't happen so the other way around. Now you see we're trickling down to where they're attacking the schools and saying black man is supposed to be and all them kind of thing. We need black men, we need to get serious with what's going on, because Barra Jack Dio, A. Fanali, and Nandalal and all them just be preaching these hate injecting these words of hate into their loved ones, make they see they're reacting, how they're reacting. And it's getting more and more serious. And you know the bottom line is, EXXON Mobil glad for that. They're glad for that because they do that in other countries. They like disturbance like this, so we whole focus could turn away from them raping the wealth in the waters there, raping out the wealth. We don't know how we isle moving. We know nothing. And I very much skeptical, and I very much is being concerned with people like Natasha St. Louis, people like the mayor, the Lord Mayor, this brother from the APNU Ghana, not my pal, people and the other rest of like balanced Indians who would want to speak out of this injustice, because I know they could get attacked and even get killed by them own for speaking out and for standing up for the balance in this country here. We got a lot of wealth that we could live in love and live in unity. Patriotism gone through the door in this country. Patriotism gone through the door. Is racism take it over? And they just come from a few headed by Barry Jack Dio, that evil dog, just to get his way. I think the only way he could lead, because nothing don't show up for you. It ain't got nothing that you could stand up and say that it's because of him make this here so striving. And I think every project he go on down, none never materialize. And because of that, he turned to the method of racism within his own people. And when the disturbance gonna come, we will start chopping and killing one another and them kind of thing. He ain't got nothing to feel, because it's he and his seed alone. He ain't got not one thing to feel. And it's real sad with what's going on. And I want the rest of brothers, them, especially the black brothers, them, we're going to come in on this program. Let we come on this program and preach upliftment. Let we encourage we black brothers, them, that is being sold out. People like Clifton Hickens, the rest in the police, black policemen in the forces, the black officers, them in the army, to stand the grounds and defend and stand up for the blackness. We ain't saying that you must go and kill out we Indian brothers and sisters, them and thing, but stand up against the injustice that coming down on the black races, and it's coming down rapid on us. They're attacking our land, our ancestral lands. They're attacking and the sheltering under the umbrella of development. And them think them and attacking their own. We got the DPP, with an Indian, would knock out everything come to her once it's Indian. She shun it. You see who the term as terrorists? The black people. The little boys them who call for poisoning out black people and that kind of thing. None of them. And them put them as terrorists. And we still sit down and accepting this kind of thing. You're hearing these kind of programs on Hits and Jam. You're hearing on them because you know why? They're under the claws of the PPP. And them are willing for torn a page and say we got to strike a balance here. The balance got to strike here. And I call them because I know enough people just gravitate and listen to them and want to go on them shows and this and that. This year march, black people, we don't support it. Don't support the march because it's only an umbrella for those who stifling us and who victimizing us to show like if it's a one Guyana, and it is not a one Guyana. It is not a one Guyana. Black people, we ease this kind of way whereby we only responding to the wind up and the jump up and them thing we go and the pushing a 60 and a 50,000 in behind while they securing millions for them and them cheering in wealth and land and them kind of thing. But they just pushing a 60 and a 50,000 in behind and making we feel comfortable. Let we stop bringing ourselves down so low because it is costing us. We creating, we putting ourselves in the position of being the contributors of our own destruction by settling for these pittances by these people. Thank you, my brother. Have a blessed day. Continue doing the good work, and I encourage our black people to continue. Let us support these programs in either financially or sharing or smashing the emojis. Let us support in whatsoever way we can because it's our only source of airing our views and our discuss of what is going on with this racist, ugly, stinking government that is being supported, that is leading our ruling our country. It is real sad, and we need to stand up. We need to stand up against this ugly, stinking regime. We need to stand up. We need to expose people like Onis Waljo for silence. We need to expose One Egel for silence. We need to bring them to shame in one way. When they come around us, we need to chase them because they're doing nothing for our blackness. We need to chase them out. Chase them out of our community. Thank you, my brother.
Call A Live, good morning.
Yes, good morning to you and all my black brothers and sisters. Well. It is ridiculous. I always say on your program, the Kodi people living by this word, what Jagan installing them upon Jad. And we black people must live by these words. It is time. And stop saying it go look bad. Unity. We support. And if black people cannot live in peace, Koli people must not live in peace. It is already in that way. I look at the news. When the UN congratulate and thank, the wicked government for sending black people tax money and praise them to donate at Turkey. But they never come out and support black people and talk against the government that what they're doing wrong, push out people, black man from the land, bring them a house with human beings inside. Where are the human rights them? I could remember Sarah Lynch come out and keep press conference with 4 or 5 Venezuelan women and said black man must respect them because they're more better than black people. Where is she never come out and talk about that nonsense them could perform there at Moko? Where was she for come out and talk about school children there after hear that nonsense talk? But black man can't come to the school there. Where in this history we never brought up in the 60s that nonsense talk, but them never allow us to behave in that way. What is so important to me this weekend? The best news is Suriname news. It's not old folks protest, it's young generation fighting for the West because they know about politics. Guyanese people have to know about politics and not only sport. Sport will come and dead. Sport will come and done for a couple of hours. But you have to go through punishment the next day and the next day. It is shameful and ridiculous what these Koli people them doing. And let them know when the government change, they say when and give we black people at water for drink, we're going to give them back at water for drink. And not have to begin to talk it now. And let the private sector know who coming to build business from Moko land, black man land. You're going to nationalize it and give back the land them to black man. You got to talk it now. Don't shame for talking in the nonsense. You got to tell us what you're going to do. For the black man say, yes, we have a strong leader. We got to nationalize no business in Guyana and give the black man. This is not the way I talk. What good for the goose is good for the gander. It is fed up, and they're not stopping. They're pushing black man pushing black man back. Every day they're doing nonsense. And when black people start to rise up, then they use the diplomats and the private sector come and talk to the leaders them just to calm things down. But I'm saying they have to stop meeting with these people them. Because come election time, they will talk about this. Say, oh, we had a nice 5 years. Look around the Caribbean and see all those problems. We did not have that because the government was doing good things. They would put it back to our face. We got to make them uncomfortable now with them nonsense. Uncomfortable. I cannot sit back and see what these Koli people is doing to black people. And black people is not doing nothing. And one more thing I want to talk. This MP have to stop going to parliament and talk nonsense. Number one, the first MP stand up and quote about Jagan and Donkey Cat. The second MP was the man in the ring, was quoting what Obama said, but he was be stopped. He was be stopped and said, no, make you have to say bibi. But when that wicked dirty minister and called black man fool in parliament, he was not stopped. When that MP stand up and called a sister for PNC that she wanted dildo, he ain't said no, don't do that. I'm checking it and I'm keeping it all in the back of my brains. That is racial. Now this last MP stand up and said, oh, it is wrong. Hello? You there?
Yes, caller.
This last MP, I forgot her name. Miss Dress to Death MP stand up and talk about the problem at the airport. Me learn from small. When Koli people want something from you, them hug you up and kiss you. And the minute they get it, they kick you. And it's not what happened to them 2 minutes. It's good what happened to them. Them is too became and involved in our politics. Not 2020. But none of them is at the parliament and tell the good thing. But our Forbes Bonham, wait did. I mean, no MPs have been permanent now and praise Bonham for what he did. But I'm praising other posts of representative. But nonsense MPs, them young MP. My grandmother teach me, don't be educated fool, be educated white. And none of them MP today in Guyana, not black people, is educated fool. Talk about what your leader did for everybody in Guyana in parliament. It's shameful, man. It's shameful.
I see George Tanner says some people only stifling their conscience. The government change, the other. Government change. The other danger and black people rule and pressure their own. I'm not getting the statement too clear, but sometimes the one says fools like this. Fools like this. Call it life.
Yeah, good morning, Kadaki and everybody. Today would have been Lyndon Forbes Sampson Bonham 100th birthday. And I did a tribute to think I send it to you. When you get time, please listen to it. Don't mind the interruption, though, was because of the good internet that we get jumping off. Anyway, now the first caller, I don't like to piggyback, but the first caller tried to bring out a point, but at a certain time he was messing up himself because he was saying black man and he was saying Indians. Now, if you're going to say black man, you got to say Koli man. And you cannot, and there is where the Africans are giving these Koli people to, they got a word for it anyway, putting them high above themselves. If you could say black man, you could say Koli. Now with the unrest in the school, that happened to a school, I think in a place called Trash Bay, a few years back, was approaching election time, and the African teachers and children had to be removed from the school, that school. Now coming to this uproar that they had there over the weekend, we got to remember, Africans got to remember, Koli didn't used to go to school, you know. When was rice planting time, they had to shine paddy. They spent 2 weeks in school, they got to leave school and go and plant beer. When the rice ready for harvest, they got for bull, they got for cut rice with grass. They were not a part of school. Barnum was the person who made certain that they had to attend school. Now, the schools, if you know the history of the schools were there for massa picnic. And many of the Africans, when they brought us here, they gave us Christianity. And if we had to stay outside of the Anglican and the Catholic churches, hence they had other churches built. And we decided, just like how Massa had schools for the children, we built schools for our children. Because the people didn't got time at school because they used to go to mass and temple. It is now they are having schools like Swami and the Muslim college and so. They didn't used to have schools. And if the people going to the schools, look what the judge do at a school like QC. And I understand it infiltrated the school at St. Stanislaus. Those were schools for our people. And if they want to start on that divide, it is not going to go thing. And when you spoke in the opening about parents, I like to talk me story. My father was the father of 8, and then we became 7 children. He had a wife. My mother was a seamstress, and my father used to take us out. We visited Pegasus before it was open. We visited Bank of Guyana. We went to the place, the GT place by the seawall, all around. When we didn't have buildings like those to go to, because my father was a painter, and he would ask the boss to bring us on a tour when they were partly finished. You can't touch no way. And we were trained. So we didn't go in and put the finger and mess up the people paint walls. So we used to go. So we were accustomed to going out with a father. We had a father who protected us. And as you rightly say, African men have got to start. Don't matter. The history was that when we came here as slaves, when a man go on a plantation and he make a set of children like a sow or a pig, a boar pig or a bull cow, and he make a set of children, another master gonna come buy off the man so that he could fill his plantation with strong young people. So the African man, after coming to the Western world, was in an area where he was not allowed to remain with his family and see them come see them grow up and get old, because he was being shifted from one plantation to the next. So many African men, these traits may, I put the word in front, may still be inborn in them as to be roving men. But they have got to sit and study to say, well, look, that was our history. This is a different time. We father children. We must be there to see our children go. We must take the responsibility. Whatever our children need, we must be there to attend and look after to their needs. Many times you see a lot of problems. You see the mothers of these children are the ones who they go to. The mothers are there. And when you start opening it and set it out long ago, I tell everybody, no Colin jumping upon me, Kadaki. We could be friends. I got a lot of Colin friends. But no Colin man, he ain't don't come me. No time. No time. That can't happen. Because let me tell you something. I would feel myself scorned, and I would be feel lower than the lowest thing on the face of the earth. And a lot of women, they gravitate to them because, oh, them Koliman got money. And when the Koliman done, he does tell them some insultive thing. Are you a black man? Are you got to take a Koli? Because are you a black man can't look after you. And with all they take them, they still destroy them psychologically, because the woman now is in a situation where at any time that man feels that is kick out time, is kick out time for she. So she's still in doing nothing. Now everybody is talking about programs. I don't even know about certain programs because I don't entertain them. And when it comes to MASH, Saturday, a lot of people, you see the little children, said the dep on the children. MASH,
let me talk about that next time. Let somebody else talk now, man.
All right, let somebody else go.
Thank you. The lines remain open. 622-5933 is the number to call. You tune to the Guyanese morning time. Voice note.
Mr. Amsterdam, good morning.
Call over the line.
You know, let me say this clear. Irfan Ali, Jagdio, and all of them will go down as the worst ever president and ministers in history of Guyana. And let them just tell themselves whatever meet them in the future to come, they prepare themselves for it. The Indians who are trying to make themselves look as if whatever they're saying and doing, it is not going to be recorded. It is being recorded, and they will pay for it. They all will pay for it, what they're doing to African Guyanese in this country, as if we are the ones that came here last. Okay? But what I want them to realize and recognize, and let me speak to our African Guyanese force. Those people do not like them. Indian people do not like African people. I don't know what it takes for them to get it in their thick skull and stop being the stooge for a few crumbs from these people. You understand? Many things I am seeing where African Guyanese could stand up, rebel about it. We are a people that is so dense. Since when? Taking all these nonsense, since when Indian people could beat up black people, children, and they're taking it and they sit down. Those children have parents, they have every single thing. What happened? You expect me to come and go to Borbies from Georgetown to come and fight for them? Well, if anybody don't want to get up and stand up for their rights, let all of them lie down and die. Because that is what the PPP is doing, trying to kill all the black people. That's what they're doing. They're suppressing, oppressing you, that they don't have to shoot you to kill you. They're going to kill you with oppression and other things. And they're doing it every day because they see black people are lazy to stand up. But they're willing to go and run to any show what they got and wind up themselves and make themselves a pack of clowns out there when the coolie people them sit down laughing them. Laughing at them. This is what they turn, laughing. Stock. I know personally I am not that. And I would never bring myself down to them. What happened to African Guyanese in this place? Everything these people do them, they're just sitting down what they're waiting for. They can't stand up. My goodness. If you don't love yourself, you can't love me. And if you're going to sit down and take everything what these people do, continue sitting down. Sit down, lie down, do whatever you are doing. It's okay. Thank you.
Caller, thank you for holding. You're live.
Yes, good morning, Mr. Kadaki, and good morning, everyone in Guyana, and good morning, everyone in the diaspora. I've got to agree with all the callers this morning. This lady who just spoke, she spoke with a lot of conviction. Rhonda Lane spoke with a lot of conviction, and the gentleman that just called earlier talked about the best news is happening is the news in Suriname. It's a beautiful thing to see when our cousins in Suriname, because when the Dutch separated from the British, some that left over there are our cousins, close family. And I like how they're standing up, and we should take an example, a page from Suriname. And the thing about it, many of the people who are protesting in Suriname are Guyanese and children of Guyanese parents. So we need to take note of that and encourage them. Now, a few days ago, the Vice President of the United States, Kamala Harris, spoke at the Munich Security Council. Her keynote speech was premised or predicated upon crimes against humanity and human rights violations. She said that justice must be served. She echoed that several times. She said justice must be served for crimes which Ukraine is perpetrating against, or the crimes which Russia is perpetrating against Ukraine, sorry. Now, the crimes of humanity in Ukraine by Russia are war crimes. But crimes against humanity just don't remain or have to be from war crimes. What the PPP done were crimes against humanity, against African Guyanese. President Granger said that much when he said 1,480 people were killed as a result of extrajudicial killings. He said as the president, he wants justice for those victims. That's what President Granger said. He put out a call as president that he wanted justice for those victims. The question I'm asking us, is it any different in what President Granger said for the call for justice for the victims than what Vice President Kamala Harris called for? She called for justice must be served for the victims who have suffered crimes against humanity. Today, she said, we share a common value system of morality. Well, Guyana shares that same value system of morality. We in CARICOM share that same value system of morality. We share a value system of democracy. She said we also share a morality system. So basically what she is saying is she is putting out a mandate together with 141 countries who have signed to wage this campaign against crimes or perpetrators against crimes against humanity. Now I want Comrade Norton to hear what we are saying here. I want Roysdale Ford to hear what we're saying here. Because crimes against humanity needs to also be recognized. Amanza Walton Desir, I want her to properly hear. I want Christopher Jones to properly hear that what the call that David Arthur Granger echoed as president is still calling for redress for the victims of 1,480. Kamala Harris has just reiterated the mandate to the world. To the world. She says that mandate will call for an international investigation into crimes of humanity. So what does that mean for us Guyanese? That means that those crimes which were meted out, that the United States cables verified that Roger Khan admitted to, those crimes that Robert Corbyn, as the leader of the PNC, championed and called for redress, all of that is on the table again today. And for Mr. Christopher Jones, as the whip, we hope that he can also get on board and whip up the campaign so that justice can be served against the PPP for perpetrating crimes against humanity, against 1,480. The evidence is out there for social media platform influencers such as Rick Podbort, Mark Bextor, Kadaki Amsterdam, Dr. Hines, Nigel Hughes. We are asking that we see that the mandate is out there and that we speak to the mandate. And the evidence which we have, make sure that it reaches Kamala Harris's desk and the body so charged to facilitate this campaign. Let our information reach their desk. A closed mouth cannot be fed. We've got to make our complaints known in whatever way, form, or fashion. Lastly, we must also send our part of our complaints carbon copy to the African Union body, the African Union, the CARICOM Secretariat Oversight Committee, University UE, Jamaica, Barbados, and Trinidad, Congressional Black Caucuses, European Union, United Nations bodies, and the South American nations. We must start the campaign. For those of us who know how America works, I don't always agree with everything America does. But you must notice that Kamala Harris did mention the CARICOM and that she is cognizant of the complaints in CARICOM. We have to understand the language. She's speaking to us. We can't say that nothing is being done. Every day we call and we complain. We can go on YouTube, listen to what Kamala Harris said, and understand that the mandate is out there, and we have to speak to the mandate with our written complaints. And let's start the campaign against the PPP. They try to call us terrorists. Well, lo and behold, they say God don't sleep. Well, you see, a few hours after they try to call us terrorists for some petty crimes in Guyana, petty nonsense, not really no crimes. Lo and behold, Kamala Harris came out and she says there will be an investigation, a global investigation for perpetrators against crimes against humanity in Guyana. Here's our opportunity to mobilize and present our evidences. If your family has been killed, cousins or relatives have been killed in Guyana, or grieved, then you send your complaints to Kamala Harris's office and ask for the office that is investigating or so responsible to investigate this issue. We have the evidence. We have the WikiLeaks files. We have Roger Khan's files from the courts. We have the files that Robert Corbyn presented 450 to the Guyanese police force. It's in the Kite Shore News. Once again, let's mobilize on that effort. Once again, thank you for listening.
Thank you for calling. Lines remain open. You're tuned to the Guyanese Morning Time. 622-5933 is the number to call. Voice note.
Good morning to you and Guyana. My question is, where is Basil Williams? Where is Robert Corbyn? Where is Van West Charles? Where is Granger? Where is all this farmer leader? But we can't have these people just showing up when PNC have Congress, and where is these people? Van West Charles running for be the head for the party, and these people suddenly disappear. Where are these people? Look, so much leader, some of them names skipping me right now, but where are this leader that come up in Bornham? Who should get backbone? Who should have to go out in community and educate black people? Where is these people? Where is these people? It's obvious some of the young black people don't know what's going on. They mean understanding what's going on. These are the voices we need. These are the voices we need. Where are these people? We just had a party in government with so much elder was in there. Where are them? Where are they? That is my contribution. Somebody asked the question, where are those former PNC members? Where are they?
It's now 3 minutes to the 9 o'clock hour. You were tuned to the Guyanese Morning Time. I'm your host, Kidaki Amsterdam, the BUXTONIAN. Thank you for joining us this morning. Thank you for sharing your thoughts and concerns about what's happening in this country. Those who are looking for terrorism should go to West Berbice, Region 5. Those who want peaceful coexistence in this country must understand that you're going to fight for it. My black brothers and sisters, especially with black men, you got to understand that you got to stand up and take your roles. You have a responsibility to protect your children, your home, your nation. Stand up and do just that. One final call. Call your life.
Morning, Kadaki, and morning, Guyana. Again, kudos and thank you for your voice. Also like to thank Rhonda and Coffee. I mean, profound statement that I believe we all should listen to and have an action plan. But it seems like, in my opinion, our African people, as I've stated before, we are one set type of people. We simply just don't get it. I don't know when we gonna get it. I mean, the boots are already on our neck. You get the licks every day. And we still haven't been able to mount any type of defense against the racist mafia style illegal government. We have regressed, in my opinion, from 20 years ago, from 30 years ago. And where do we see ourselves in the next 10 years? And I mean, if we're at this point now, we have to look and see what's going to happen in the next 10 years. But I don't think we are comprehending or even actually taking it as much seriously as we should. As you've mentioned, no one is stepping up, taking 1, 2, or 3, or 4 for the team. No one is doing that. Instead, we've heard, where is our African men? Apparently, they're busy partying, matrimony, and doing other things. Here's it. When we as a people will have the hatred and kill our own, but when it comes to the other folks that we should be doing damage to, we refuse to, because we are worried about this and worried about that. But we are not worried of killing our own in protesting against our own, or, you know, it is really mind-boggling. And I have said this before, the Indianization of the educational system in Guyana, and what we have seen over the past couple of days, where the directive came down from the Ministry of Education for QC students not to visit certain places. And we know what they're trying to do, but we simply just sit there and take it. You know, no condemnation. And I don't know, man. There have to be some serious stuff that's going on with us mentally, that we are not responding the way we should respond. And unless, my prediction is, unless we respond correctively, Guyana for Africans are going to be totally gone. And that's my take.
Thank you for your call. Y'all watch Terrorism, me. Woodley Park.
the big man come and copy, right?